Hi guys, welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. We had a great fun one for you today. If I zoom down to the bottom of this site, we've got a little footer here. I'm going to show you how to add a little pop-up contact form. If I click on my little button here, we've got this contact form. They can fill it out, send it off, X out when they're ready. And we've also added a little live Google map logo and menu. Of course, this is a very simple version. You'd want to go to town on yours. But today I'm really going to focus on showing you how to make this pop up and adding a little Google map to it as well. So let's get started. To do this today, I'm going to go down to my dashboard. Once at the dashboard, we're going to go down to Divi and down to Theme Builder right here. That's going to take us to this page. As you can see, here's the global footer that I created earlier that you've just seen. I've got a custom header for a specific page called slider there, specific page slider. Let's get rid of this global footer and we'll start from scratch. I'm going to hit the delete button. And let's delete the custom footer for this page. Now if we save our changes, go back to this page and refresh, we should be left with the default footer. There it is. Great. So let's build our global footer. Now a global footer is going to appear on every page. You can make a custom footer and specify which page you want to put it on. I'm going to use global so it appears everywhere. So I'm just going to click on that. I'm going to hit the build global footer. And let's just add our structure first. By default, it puts in a section, little blue tab up there, and prompts you to put in a row. Let's go into our section. I'm going to have mine dark in color, so I'm going to go into the section. Background's always under content. Let's give it a dark background color. I have a 2424 that I like to use. Great. Now I'm going to have 4 columns in mind. Obviously adjust yours to what you need. I'm going to be doing this very quickly. Like I said, I'm just going to be focusing really on popping up the form and adding a live Google map. So let's add 4 columns. In the first column, I'm going to add a little menu module. And you can choose whatever menu you've got saved under appearance and menus. Remember, these are the menus that you've built. If you haven't built any, there's not going to be any here. So these are saved menus. I'm going to leave mine on that one. That's going to work fine for me. I want mine to be vertical though. To make this into a vertical menu, we just have to basically shrink it down to the size of our longest link right there. So if we go over to our design, go down to sizing, we can give it a fixed width down here. Oh, I think I just use 100 pixels. So if you put in 100, it adds percent on the back end of there. So we need to delete the percent and add px for pixels. As you can see, those have dropped down nicely. Now I want that writing to be white. I want that module to be in the middle of the column. And it looks like it's got a white background, so I need to get rid of that too. So let's go over content. As we said, background's always under content. There's the white background. Hit the little trash can. It's gone. We need to make that text readable. So I've gone over to Design tab, Menu Text, regular link color. I'm just going to make it white. If you want a hover color, just hover over the dark writing. This is common to all Divi modules. You'll see some icons appear. If there's a little arrow there, we can create a hover effect. Let's turn it orange perhaps on hover. Click on the hover tab with the little arrow there and give it the color you want on hover. Fantastic. Let's switch back to desktop row. Okay, I want to make sure that's in the middle of my column because we used sizing before. Let's just close up the menu text. And the sizing, if we roll down, module alignment, I'm going to put it in the middle of that column there. Fantastic. Now, the next thing I want here is a little icon and a button that's going to pop up our contact form. So let's add that. Just going to add a little icon module. Let's find a mail icon. That one will do absolutely fine. Go into the design. It's a little bit big there. We go into the icon itself. I think I used about 40 pixels for mine last time. I'm going to make it white in color. And just to make it stand out a little bit more, Alignment wise, it wants to be in the middle, which it is. Just to make it stand out a bit more, I'm going to add a black background. Take my 3 little buttons, get my color palette up. There's a little black background. And let's go design, add a bit of padding and just make it into a circle or something similar, pretty close to a circle. I'm going to go into spacing. Let's try putting 10 pixels top and bottom. Just put in the 10, it'll put in the pics. We'll try 15 left and right. Maybe a little bit more than I need here. What we're basically trying to do is make a square. Let's get that down to 10. I think it's just too wide for us there. Something like that. We can adjust it again. If we go down to our border here, we can give it rounded corners by giving it a high value such as 50. That'll work fine. And let's just add a little border around it. Here's the border color. Let's make it that crazy orange. Solid's fine. And just 1 pixel perhaps. That'll work for me. Now let's add the button that we want to use to pop up our contact form that we're going to build. So I'm going to add a new module, little button module. There it is right here. Put in what you want it to say. I'm not going to put anything into the link. We'll be using a bit of Elegant Themes code for this button today to make it pop up our form. In the design, alignment wise, again, I want this to be in the middle. If we click on the button itself, let's just change that from a blue button text color to a white. That'll work for me. Let's use that same crazy orange when we hover over it. Again, hit the little arrow, click on the hover tab, put in the color that you want there. Fantastic. It may be just a little bit too far apart there. Let's just save what we've got here. Let's go back into our little icon. See what margin it's got on the bottom. In design and spacing is always where you find padding and margin. Let's perhaps just put 10 pixels in there. Let's tighten that up a bit. That works for me. Great. Now next up, I added a little Google map right here. Really easy to do. Not going to use the map module, so we don't need an API key. I'm just going to go over to Google Maps, put in the address that you want there. I put in the White House. Zoom into the size that you want it to be zoomed into. And hit the little share icon right here. Going to click on Embed a Map. And it gives us the iframe code right here. Just hit the copy HTML. We'll go back to our Divi. We'll add a little code module. Click on the little dark button to add a new module. We'll add a code module. Simply put your cursor in there and paste the iframe code. And you've got a map. But it's a little bit deeper than we want it to be. I think I want mine to be perhaps 150 tall and 200 wide. Not quite sure. But if we look down here at the code, we've got width 600. Let's try making that a 200. And the depth, try about 150. It's 450 at the moment. Let's make it 150. That's about right. Now, of course, if you want it square, make them both the same size, 150, 150 or 200, 200. I think I'm going to use that. But while we're here, we know it's 200. These are actually pixels. Don't put the px on the end. And if you change these, make sure you don't cut off the little inverted commas there. So we know it's 200 wide. So if we go into our design and sizing, we can give it a fixed width right here of 200 pixels, 200 and px on the end. Make sure you put on the px. It may put in a percentage otherwise. And we want to make sure that's also in the middle of our column for when we go down to tablet and mobile views. Great. Well, let's just brand this footer. I'll put my little brand logo in there. I'm going to go into the last column that we've got here. I'm going to use a little image module. And click on it. And somewhere amongst these crazy pictures, I've got a light color of my logo. There it is right there. Let's pop that one in there. Again, I want it to be not too large. I'm going to go over to design and sizing. Width-wise, I'm going to give it 200 pixels. Same width as our map. That works absolutely fine with me. And again, I want it to be in the center of our column. That way, when it collapses on mobile and tablet, everything will be aligned nicely. And let's just finish off with a little copyright symbol down below. So let's save that one. We'll add a new module. You can put a link in for this to take you back to the home page if you wanted to. Down in link down below here. If you wanted to take them to the home page, just pop your URL link in there. I'm going to leave mine just as it is for the moment. Okay, let's add a little copyright and we're good to go. I'm going to roll down. I'm going to add a little text module. And inside, just write copyright. And we'll use the copyright symbol, which is what they call an alt code. Push your alt key down, keep it pushed down, and type in 0169. It'll give you the copyright symbol. That's 0169 with your alt key held down. And fantastic. I want to make sure that's in the middle. We can align it here or in the design tab. And also want it to be white in color. So over in design, text. Perfect. I think I want those a little bit closer together. So let's go into our little logo here. See what padding it's got on the bottom by going to design, spacing, padding bottom. What if I put a 0 in there? That's fine. Little switch shows space below the image. If I switch that off, that brings that up a little bit closer if that works for you. Great, and you can go on adding things ad infinitum. Like I say, you'd probably want to make yours a little more complex for that. Let's just save our changes here. If you wanted to fill out the whole row, we can go into the row, which is the green tab right here. We could go to design, sizing, and make it full width. Drag the width slider up to 100%. Copy that 100%, Control C, and paste it down below in the max width. Control V to paste, or just type it in if you want to. And as you can see, we're spread out over the whole of our area there. Fantastic. Well, let's make our little contact form pop up now. First thing we want to do is build the actual contact form we want to pop up, and we can do it right here in the global footer. That way it's going to appear on every single page. So I'm going to add a new section, little blue button to add a new section. I'm going to use a regular section. I'm going to put a single column in mine. We'll make it really simple. If you want to go into details about how to build a contact form with Divi, we've got a whole video out there in our Divi for Beginners section. So let's go down. Let's find a contact form. There it is. By default, it puts in the 3 fields for you. If you want to add a new field, just hit the button here. Give it an ID and a title if you want it to have a title. And in the field options, you can decide what sort of field it is: input, email, text area, checkbox, radio buttons, and drop down. I'm going to leave mine just as it is. So let's just save that. We'll get rid of that field. Okay, let's give our form a little title. Success message. You want to have something there that says that the message has been sent, so that they know that it's not just disappeared. The message has actually gone through. Submit button. If you want to change it from submit, you can put in anything you like there. Now, the important part is where you want this sent to. Under the email, put in the email address that you want this form sent to. Message pattern, we've done a whole series on this, or we've done a whole video on this. Basically, if you put double percentage signs in there, you can decide what fields you see by using the fields ID. I won't go into that today. If you want to redirect them rather than having a success message, you can do that here and decide where you want to redirect them to. Put in any URL. Once they submit the form, it'll take them to whatever URL you put in there. I'm happy for it to just say message sent. Don't want to link it. Don't want to background it. Not going to give it an admin label. It's the only thing in this section. Let's just make it a little more interesting, and I'll show you how to pop it up. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to go into my section, the blue tab. Going to go down to background, always under content, remember. Let's put a dark color in, the same as we used above there, 2424, which it was. I'm also going to put an image in. Find one of our crazy images. That'll do nicely. I'm going to blend it with that color we put in there. If we roll down on the image tab, background image blend. And again, we've got a whole video on backgrounds if you want to go into depth. I'm going to multiply it, which you can vaguely see him in the background there. To bring him in a little bit more, what we need to do is go to the color, the first tab that we did here. Left click on the color field, variegated slider. The more you pull this down, the more of that image you're going to see in the background. I'm going to leave it something like that. And I want to change my contact us text to white perhaps and pop it in the middle. But that'll work for the time being for the actual section itself. Let's go into this contact form again. Title text. I'm going to pop it in the middle. And we'll make it white in color and perhaps a little bit bigger. That'll work. I want to make this slightly deeper. So still in design, I'm going to close up our title text. I'm going to go down to spacing. And padding top and bottom. Let's put in perhaps 15 viewable height, top and bottom. That'll work for me. There's our little contact form. Great. But of course, we don't want to see it attached to our footer. We just want the footer on the bottom there. Footer's a little deep too. So while we're here, let's go into our section here. I'll take a bit of that padding away. Padding's always under design and spacing. Padding top and bottom. What if I put a 0 in there? It's probably going to take away too much. No, it's not too bad. I think that will work for me, actually. Obviously, you can go on decorating this how you want. Okay, well, we've got our form. We've got our footer. Let's make the magic happen now. Now, Elegant Themes has provided some code for us to create a lightbox effect from anything and pop up anything from anything, which is great. I'll put this link down below so you can go to this page. Once you go to this page, if we look about halfway down, we've got some CSS code. We need to copy this CSS code from the last curly bracket there all the way to the top where it says body there. Control C to copy, or right click and copy, however you like to do it. If we go back to our page now, let's add a code module, and you can put it anywhere you want. I'm going to add mine under here. I've got a little bit of space. Now that was CSS code we just copied from here. Because we're using a code module, we have to tell it it's CSS by opening some style tags. And that's left pointy bracket, the word style, and right pointy bracket. Give it a bit of space. And we can paste our CSS code in here. Great. And I'll take you through a bit of this later on and show you how you can change the actual closing icon color and things like that. Nothing to it. Now, if we go back over to our page, we roll down a little bit more. We've got some JavaScript. We need to take it from the opening script tag to the closing script tag. Control C again to copy back to our site. Now, because it's put script tags in there, we don't need to put our own in. So I'm going to drop down a couple from our CSS there. Now I'm going to hit Control V to paste and paste that script in there. Fantastic. Now, if we look back at this page, let's just save that. It tells us if you want to pop something out from something, it's got to have a class name. The button, for instance, has to have a class name of ETLB button 1. Remember, we put no link in that button. We're just going to use this class name. Control C. Go back to the page. Go into our little button module right here. And all we need to do, we don't go to the link. We actually go to the advanced CSS IDs and classes. Make sure you put it in the class name, not the CSS ID. It will not work if you put it in the ID. And we've got it there. Now we've identified this as button 1. When we click on it, we want it to pop up this Contact Us section. So we need to go into our Contact Us section now and give it an identifier. If we go over to Advanced, CSS IDs and Classes, look back at this code here. It's going to tell us anything that we pop up has to have a class of ETLB Content 1. And you can have many of these on the page, and we've done this before in various videos. Again, make sure you put that in the class and not in the ID. If you've got several buttons, you make sure you've got button with a class of 1, -1. Next button would be -2, -3. And the corresponding content, you just change this number on the end. Button 2, if you wanted to pop up this content, put a 2 on the end, etc. But we've only got the one thing today, so we should be good to go. Let's save our changes here. Get the little purple button. Make sure we hit save. And we'll X out at the top. Make sure all changes are saved up here. If we go back to our page now, we've got the generic Divi footer there. When I refresh this, we should have our new little global footer in there. And there it is right there. There's our little Google map. And here's our button. And if we click on it, there's our little contact form. They can fill it out. They can send it off. We've got a little X up here. Click on that. It's going to disappear. And you may have noticed that that contact form is not down below here anymore. Our JavaScript and CSS hides that one for us unless we click on this. Now, if you're using a white background here, you're not going to see that X up there. If you want to change the color of the X, let's go back to our theme builder and down to that bit of code, to our global footer. If we go up to that little code module that we put in here, if we look down here, we'll roll on down. They put a little note in color of the closing icon right there. FFF is white. We can make it black by putting 000 in, or you can just put a web color in there. Let's make it red. Let's just say red. Now let's save our changes. Make sure everything's saved down here. X out. Make sure all changes are saved. And we'll take another look at that. Let's just X out of here and we'll refresh this page again. Click on our button. As you can see, that's turned that little X red for us. So if you need to change the color, if you're not using a dark background, that's the way to do it. Really easy to do. So there we go, guys. There's a quick video showing you how to create a little global footer with a live Google map and a pop-up contact form like this. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget, if you have any questions, drop them down below. I'll do my best to answer them for you or make a little demo video just like this one. So once again, this has been Jamie with System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.